First contact. The vast emptiness of space stretched before Captain Alina Reyes as she stood on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, Earth's most advanced deep space exploration vessel. The ship's sleek design and powerful engines were a testament to humanity's rapid technological advancement since achieving faster-than-light travel just 2 decades ago. Alina's dark eyes scanned the holographic displays surrounding her, each one streaming data from the ship's various sensors and systems. The crew worked diligently at their stations, the soft hum of machinery and occasional beeps from consoles, the only sounds breaking the contemplative silence. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Commander Zhenwei, his voice tinged with excitement. "We're picking up an unusual energy signature from the nearby star system." Alina strode over to Zhen's station, her curiosity piqued. "What kind of signature, Commander?" Zhen's fingers danced across his console, bringing up a more detailed analysis. "It's unlike anything we've seen before, Captain. The energy patterns suggest advanced technology, but there's something off about it, almost like it's degrading or malfunctioning." A small smile tugged at the corner of Alina's lips. This was exactly the kind of discovery they'd hoped for when they'd set out on this mission. "All right, let's check it out. Helm, set a course for the source of that signature. All hands, prepare for potential first contact scenario." As the ESS Horizon glided through space towards the mysterious energy source, Alina couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and apprehension. Humanity had encountered a few alien species since venturing into the stars, but each new contact brought its own set of challenges and opportunities. Hours later, the ship entered a star system dominated by a vibrant blue-white star. As they approached the third planet, a world of swirling purples and greens, the source of the energy signature became clear. "Captain," Zhen called out, his voice now filled with concern. "We're detecting a massive space station in orbit around the planet, but it looks like it's been attacked. There are multiple hull breaches, and the energy signature we detected is coming from their failing life support systems." Alina's expression hardened. "Any signs of the attackers?" "Negative, Captain. Scans show no other ships in the system." "All right," Alina said, her mind racing through protocols and possibilities. "Let's try to establish communication. If there are survivors, they may need our help." The communications officer, Ensign Amelia Okoye, worked quickly to send out a greeting on all frequencies. For several tense moments, there was no response. Then, suddenly, a crackling transmission came through. "This is Elder Vox of the Zalthu Collective." A weak, raspy voice spoke. "Please, help us. Our station, under attack. Life support failing." Alina didn't hesitate. "Elder Vox, this is Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth Ship Horizon. We're here to help. Can you tell us more about your situation?" As Elder Vox explained their dire circumstances, a picture began to form. The Zalthu were a peaceful, highly advanced species who had long ago given up traditional planetary living in favor of vast space habitats. Their station had been attacked without warning by an unknown force, leaving them crippled and desperate. "Commander Wei, assemble a rescue team," Alina ordered. "We're going to board that station and evacuate as many survivors as we can." Within the hour, Alina led a team of engineers, medics, and security personnel onto the damaged Zalthu station. The interior was a maze of twisted metal and flickering lights, the air thin and growing thinner by the minute. They found Elder Vox and a group of survivors huddled in a sealed chamber near the station's core. The Zalthu were striking in appearance. Tall, slender beings with iridescent skin and large, multifaceted eyes that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. "Thank you," Elder Vox wheezed as Alina helped him to his feet. "We had almost lost hope." As the human rescue team worked to evacuate the Zalthu survivors, Alina couldn't help but marvel at the advanced technology surrounding them, even in its damaged state. "Elder Vox," she asked, "do you have any idea who attacked you or why?" The alien leader's multifaceted eyes seemed to dim. We have our suspicions, Captain. There are factions in this part of the galaxy who fear our technological advancements. They believe we pose a threat to their power. Alina's jaw clenched. The idea of attacking a peaceful species out of fear and jealousy didn't sit well with her. Well, you're under our protection now. We'll do everything we can to help you rebuild and find justice. Over the next several days, the crew of the ESS Horizon worked tirelessly to assist the Zalthu. They repaired what they could of the station's critical systems and welcomed those who couldn't return aboard their own ship. As Alina stood in the Horizon's medical bay, watching Dr. Yuki Tanaka tend to the injured Zalthu, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in her crew and in humanity as a whole. They had extended a helping hand to a species in need, potentially changing the course of galactic history in the process. Elder Vox approached her, his movements still weak but improving. Captain Rice, I cannot express the depth of our gratitude. Your people's kindness and technological ingenuity are remarkable. Elena smiled warmly. We're just glad we could help, Elder. Humanity has its flaws, but we've learned that reaching out to others, especially in times of need, is one of our greatest strengths. The alien leader nodded, a gesture he had quickly adopted from observing the humans. We would like to formally request an alliance with your people. The Zalthu have much to offer in terms of scientific knowledge and technology. In return, we ask for your protection and friendship. Alina's heart raced at the implications of such an alliance. It would be a significant step for humanity on the galactic stage. I'll need to consult with my superiors, of course, but speaking personally, I believe this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. As Elena made her way back to the bridge to contact Earth about this extraordinary turn of events, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of a much larger story. Humanity had taken its first steps into a complex galactic community, and the ripples of their actions would soon be felt across the stars. Little did Elena know that news of humanity's intervention was already spreading. In the shadowy corners of the galaxy, those who had orchestrated the attack on the Zalthu watched with growing concern. The humans, it seemed, were not to be underestimated. They had unwittingly challenged powers they did not yet understand, and the consequences of their actions would soon come knocking at their door. But for now, as the ESS Horizon prepared to escort their new Zalthu allies to safety, there was a sense of hope and possibility in the air. Humanity had passed its first major test on the galactic stage with flying colors. The question remained, were they ready for what would come next? Rising tensions. 6 months had passed since the ESS Horizon's fateful encounter with the Zalthu Collective. In that time, the face of human-alien relations had changed dramatically. The newly formed Human-Zalthu Alliance had become the talk of the galaxy, a beacon of cooperation and mutual benefit that was rapidly reshaping the cosmic political landscape. On Earth, in the gleaming spires of New Geneva, the headquarters of the United Earth Government, Admiral Kandra Okoro stood before the Galactic Affairs Committee. Her weathered face, etched with the lines of countless battles and diplomatic skirmishes, was set in a grim expression. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, she began, her deep voice resonating through the chamber. While our alliance with the Zalthu has brought unprecedented advancements in technology and opened new avenues for exploration, it has also placed us squarely in the crosshairs of some very powerful and very angry entities. Holographic displays flickered to life around the room, showing various alien species and star charts. Admiral Okoro continued, our intelligence suggests that a coalition of species, led by the militaristic Vreknar Empire, sees our rapid rise as a threat to their dominance. They fear the combination of Zalthu technology and human ingenuity. Murmurs rippled through the assembled politicians and military leaders. A young senator, her face pale with concern, spoke up. What are our options, Admiral? Surely we can't back down from our commitments to the Zalthu. Admiral Okoro's eyes hardened. No, Senator, we cannot. Humanity has given its word, and we will stand by our allies. However, we must prepare for the possibility of conflict on a scale we've never before encountered. As the meeting continued, billions of miles away, Captain Alina Reyes found herself in a very different kind of tension. The ESS Horizon, now serving as a mobile embassy and research station, orbited a neutral world where representatives from various galactic powers had gathered for a summit. Alina stood in a grand hall, surrounded by a dizzying array of alien life forms. Some were vaguely humanoid, others defied easy description. The air was thick with a cacophony of translator-assisted conversations and the subtle undercurrent of political maneuvering. At her side stood Elder Vox, the Zalfu leader she had rescued months ago. His iridescent skin seemed to pulse with nervous energy. "Captain Reyes," he whispered, his multifaceted eyes darting around the room. "I fear we may have underestimated the response our alliance would provoke." Alina nodded grimly. "I'm starting to get that feeling too, Elder. But we can't let fear dictate our actions. We're here to build bridges, not burn them." As if on cue, a hulking figure approached them. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, with thick, reptilian skin and eyes that glowed with barely contained aggression, the alien cut an imposing figure. "Ah, the human and her pet scientist," the creature growled, its translator struggling to convey the full disdain in its voice. "I am Ambassador Krell of the Vreknar Empire. We have much to discuss." Alina straightened her back, meeting the ambassador's gaze unflinchingly. "Ambassador Krell, it's a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to productive discussions that can benefit all our peoples." Krell's mouth twisted into what might have been a smile, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. "Oh yes, we shall discuss how your kind has upset the delicate balance of power in this sector. The Zalfu were meant to be contained, and now you've given them teeth." Before Alina could respond, a commotion broke out across the hall. A group of smaller, avian-like aliens had surrounded a human scientist, their voices raised in anger. "You steal our trade routes," one squawked. "Your ships, they go too fast, too far." Alina quickly excused herself from Ambassador Krell and rushed to defuse the situation. As she calmed the agitated aliens with promises of fair trade negotiations, she couldn't shake the feeling that this summit was balanced on a knife's edge. Back on Earth, in a secret facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Yuki Tanaka hunched over a workbench, her eyes protected by advanced holographic goggles. Before her lay the fruits of 6 months of intense collaboration between human and Zalfu scientists, a prototype quantum communicator that could revolutionize faster-than-light communication. A hand on her shoulder startled her from her work. She looked up to see the concerned face of her research partner, Dr. Zhen Wei, formerly of the ESS Horizon. "Yuki," he said softly, "we've received word from the summit. Things are tense. The Vreknar and their allies are pushing for restrictions on human expansion and technology sharing with the Zalfu." Yuki's eyes narrowed. "They're afraid of what we might achieve together." Zhen nodded. "Exactly. Which is why we need to push harder. This communicator could change everything. Instant communication across the galaxy. It would make coordinating our defenses, our trade, our very civilization, infinitely easier." As the two scientists redoubled their efforts, in the depths of space, a Vreknar battlecruiser hung in the shadow of a gas giant. In its command center, a group of high-ranking military officers gathered around a holographic display of human space. Fleet Commander Grok, his scales dark with age and battle scars, growled at his subordinates. "The humans are expanding too quickly. Their alliance with the Zalfu gives them access to technology that should be beyond their comprehension. If we do not act soon, they will surpass us." A younger officer, his voice tinged with hesitation, spoke up. "But sir, open aggression against the humans would be seen as an act of war by many neutral parties. We could find ourselves isolated." Grok's eyes flashed dangerously. "Then we must be subtle. We will test their defenses, probe for weaknesses, and when the time is right, we will strike with such force that the galaxy will have no choice but to accept our dominance. As plans were laid for clandestine operations against human interests on a distant world, a lone figure worked tirelessly in secret. Dr. Ava Chen, a brilliant xenobiologist, had been tasked with a mission of utmost importance: understanding, and if possible, replicating the unique biological advantages of various alien species. In her hidden lab, surrounded by samples and complex equipment, Ava stared in awe at her latest breakthrough. Before her, in a sealed container, a piece of human tissue pulsed with an otherworldly glow. "It's working," she whispered to herself. "The Zalthu regenerative properties, they're compatible with human DNA." The implications were staggering: enhanced healing, extended lifespans, possibly even resistance to certain types of energy weapons. But as Ava recorded her findings, a shadow of doubt crossed her mind. The power of such discoveries, in the wrong hands, could be devastating. Little did she know, her work had not gone unnoticed. In the shadows of her lab, a tiny drone, no larger than an insect, transmitted her every move to interested parties light years away. As tensions continued to rise across the galaxy, humanity found itself walking a precarious tightrope. Their alliance with the Zalthu had catapulted them onto the galactic stage, but it had also painted a target on their back. On a remote human colony world, the consequences of this new reality were about to be felt. New Eden was a paradise, a testament to humanity's ability to terraform and cultivate even the most inhospitable worlds. Its lush forests and crystal-clear lakes belied the harsh environment that had existed just a decade earlier. Governor Emeka Okafor stood on the balcony of the Colonial Administration Building, looking out over the thriving settlement. His moment of pride was interrupted by the sudden blaring of alarms. Racing to the control room, he was met with chaos. "Report," he barked. A young officer, her face pale with fear, turned to him. "Sir, we're detecting multiple ships entering the system. They're not responding to hails, and they're on an attack vector." Emeka's blood ran cold. This was what they had feared, what they had prepared for, but hoped would never come. "Sound the evacuation alarm. Get everyone to the shelters. And send out a distress call to Earth. New Eden is under attack." As the colony scrambled to defend itself against the unknown aggressors, across the galaxy, the pieces of a much larger conflict were falling into place. In the Grand Hall of the Galactic Summit, Captain Alina Reyes felt a chill run down her spine. The heated debates and thinly veiled threats had reached a fever pitch when suddenly, every communication device in the room began to buzz with urgent messages. Alina's eyes met those of Elder Vox, and in that moment, they both knew. The delicate peace they had worked so hard to build was about to be tested in fire. Ambassador Krull's booming voice cut through the growing chaos. "It seems," he said, a cruel smile twisting his reptilian features, "that the consequences of your reckless alliance have finally come home to roost." As reports of the attack on New Eden spread through the assembled delegates, Alina realized that this was only the beginning. The true test of humanity's resolve and the strength of their alien friendships was yet to come. In New Geneva, Admiral Okoro received the distress call from New Eden with a mix of anger and grim determination. As she mobilized Earth's defenses and called for an emergency session of the Galactic Affairs Committee, one thought dominated her mind. Whoever was behind this attack had just made the biggest mistake of their lives. They were about to learn why you don't provoke humanity or threaten those under their protection. The stage was set. In research labs and military bases, on diplomatic stations and distant colonies, humans and their Zalthu allies prepared for a conflict that would reshape the galaxy. The next moves they made would determine not just the fate of their alliance, but the future of interstellar relations for generations to come. As the ESS Horizon broke orbit, racing to the aid of New Eden, Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge, her jaw set with determination. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever enemies they would face, one thing was certain. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. They would fight. They would persevere, and they would show the galaxy why you should never, ever underestimate the human spirit. The storm was about to break, and at its center stood humanity, resourceful, determined, and fiercely protective of their newfound alien friends. The galaxy was about to learn a valuable lesson. When you threaten those under human protection, you better be prepared for the consequences. Betrayal and attack. The skies above New Eden burned. What had once been a peaceful colony world now found itself the epicenter of a galactic conflict. The ESS Horizon burst into the system, shields already straining against the barrage of enemy fire. On the bridge, Captain Alina Reyes barked orders, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. Status report. Lieutenant Commander Zhen Wei, his face illuminated by the red glow of alert panels, responded grimly. Multiple enemy ships, Captain. Vreknar design. But there's something off about their energy signatures. Alina's brow furrowed. Elaborate, Commander. They're more powerful than they should be, almost as if. Zhen's eyes widened in realization. Captain, I think they're using Zalthu technology. The implications hit Alina like a physical blow. How had the Vreknar gotten their hands on such advanced tech? As the Horizon dove into the fray, engaging the enemy ships to buy time for the colony's evacuation, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. On the surface of New Eden, Governor Emeka Okafor led a desperate defense. The colony's modest security forces, bolstered by civilian volunteers, fought tooth and nail against Vreknar ground troops. The air was thick with the acrid smell of energy weapons and burning vegetation. Emeka, his once pristine uniform now torn and stained, coordinated the resistance from a makeshift bunker. Hold the line. He shouted into his comm unit. Reinforcements are coming. We just need to buy more time. As if in answer to his plea, the sky lit up with new explosions. But these weren't from Vreknar weapons. A swarm of sleek, iridescent ships had entered the atmosphere, their advanced energy weapons cutting through the enemy forces with surgical precision. Emeka's comm crackled to life. Governor Okafor, this is Elder Vox of the Zalthu Collective. We received your distress call and came as fast as we could. Hold on, my friend. Help has arrived. Tears of relief stung Emeka's eyes. The Zalthu had come. Their alliance wasn't just words on paper, it was a bond forged in the heat of battle. Back in space, the arrival of the Zalthu fleet had turned the tide of the battle. The ESS Horizon, working in concert with their alien allies, pushed back against the Vreknar forces. But questions still lingered. In a brief lull in the fighting, Alina opened a secure channel to Elder Vox's ship. Elder, we've detected Zalthu technology in the Vreknar ships. How is this possible? The alien leader's multifaceted eyes dimmed with what Alina now recognized as sorrow. Captain Reyes, I fear we have been betrayed. There are factions within our own people who opposed our alliance with humanity. They must have sold our secrets to the highest bidder. The revelation sent shockwaves through the bridge crew. Their alliance, which had seemed so strong, now appeared vulnerable from within. As the battle for New Eden raged on, across the galaxy, other pieces of the cosmic chessboard were moving into place. In the secret research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Yuki Tanaka and Dr. Zhen Wei worked feverishly to complete their quantum communicator. The device sparked and hummed, drawing concerned glances from the security personnel stationed nearby. We're close, Zhen, Yuki muttered, her fingers flying over the controls. If we can get this working, we can coordinate our forces across the entire galaxy instantaneously. It could turn the tide of the war. Zhen nodded, his face etched with determination. Let's hope we're not too late. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Security Chief Maria Rodriguez burst into the lab, her weapon drawn. We've been compromised. Unknown forces have breached the outer defenses. We need to move now. As Yuki and Zhen scrambled to secure their research, the sound of energy weapons and explosions grew closer. The enemy, it seemed, knew exactly where to strike. Meanwhile, In the depths of Rekinar space, Fleet Commander Grok stood before a holographic display of the battle at New Eden. His reptilian features twisted into a snarl of frustration. "How are the humans putting up such resistance?" he growled. "With the stolen Zalthu technology, we should have crushed them by now." A subordinate officer, his scales pale with fear, spoke up. "Sir, it appears the Zalthu themselves have joined the battle. Our intelligence suggested their response would be delayed." Grok's eyes narrowed dangerously. "It seems our allies within the Zalthu collective are not as influential as they claimed. No matter. Initiate Phase 2 of the operation. Let's see how the humans and their friends handle multiple fronts." Across human space, alerts began to sound. Colonies, outposts, and shipping lanes suddenly found themselves under attack. The Vreknar had launched a coordinated assault on a scale unprecedented in galactic history. On Earth, in the chambers of the Galactic Affairs Committee, chaos reigned. Politicians and military leaders argued bitterly, each trying to shout over the others as reports of attacks flooded in from across human territory. Admiral Kandra Okoro's voice cut through the din like a knife. "Enough," she roared, silencing the room. "This is no time for petty squabbles. Our people are under attack. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you push humanity into a corner." As she laid out a daring plan of counterattack, utilizing every resource at humanity's disposal, a junior officer approached with a datapad. The color drained from Okoro's face as she read the report. "Admiral," one of the committee members asked, concern evident in their voice. Okoro's eyes were hard as steel when she looked up. "We've just lost contact with the Rocky Mountain Research Facility. Our most advanced projects, including the quantum communicator, they may have fallen into enemy hands." The implications were staggering. If the Vreknar got their hands on that technology, combined with what they'd already stolen from the Zalthu, they could become nearly unstoppable. Back on New Eden, the tide of battle had finally turned. With the combined efforts of human forces, colonial defenders, and their Zalthu allies, the Vreknar assault had been repelled. But the cost had been high. Governor Emeka Okafor stood amidst the rubble of what had once been the colonial capital, his eyes taking in the devastation. Captain Elena Reyes and Elder Vox joined him, their faces grim. "We won the day," Emeka said softly, "but at what cost?" Elena placed a hand on his shoulder. "We'll rebuild, Governor. Stronger than before. This attack has only proven how vital our alliance truly is." Elder Vox nodded in agreement, his iridescent skin shimmering in the smoky air. "Indeed. But I fear this is only the beginning. The betrayal within our own ranks. It suggests a conspiracy far larger than we initially believed." As if to punctuate his words, Elena's comm unit buzzed with an urgent message. Her face paled as she read it. "We got reports coming in from all over human space. Multiple colonies under attack, shipping lanes disrupted, and Earth just lost contact with one of our most sensitive research facilities." The gravity of the situation settled over the group like a heavy blanket. This wasn't just an isolated incident or a show of force. This was the opening salvo of a full-scale war. In the depths of space, Dr. Ava Chen found herself in a precarious situation. Her secret lab, where she had been working on integrating Zalthu biological enhancements with human physiology, was no longer secret. A team of Vreknar commandos had stormed the facility, led by a figure that made Ava's blood run cold. "Dr. Chen," the Zalthu trader said, his multifaceted eyes gleaming with malice, "your work is most impressive. I believe my Vreknar friends will find it quite useful." Ava stood her ground, despite the fear coursing through her veins. "I won't help you," she spat. "Whatever you're planning, it won't work. Humanity and the Zalthu will stop you." The trader's laugh was cold and mirthless. "Oh, my dear doctor, you've already helped us more than you know. And as for stopping us, I'm afraid it's far too late for that." As Ava was led away, her mind raced. She had to find a way to warn her people, to let them know the true extent of the threat they faced. But how? Across the galaxy, on a dozen worlds, and countless ships, humans, and their Zalthu allies fought desperately against the Vreknar onslaught. The enemy's use of stolen technology had caught them off guard, but human ingenuity and Zalthu wisdom were quickly adapting. On the ESS Horizon, now serving as a mobile command center for the defense of the sector, Captain Elena Reyes coordinated with human and Zalthu forces. The ship's advanced communications array, a product of their technological partnership, allowed for real-time strategic planning across vast distances. "We've got reports of Vreknar forces massing in the Arcturus system," Jen reported, his fingers dancing over the tactical display. "If they take those shipyards, they'll cripple our ability to produce new vessels." Elena nodded grimly. "Agreed. Divert the Third Fleet to intercept. And get me a line to Admiral Okoro. We need to coordinate our next move on a larger scale." As the battle raged across the stars, a lone ship slipped through the chaos. On board, Dr. Yuki Tanaka and a team of human and Zalthu scientists worked feverishly to complete the quantum communicator. They had managed to escape the attack on the Rocky Mountain facility, but not without cost. Half their team had been lost in the fighting. "If we can get this operational," Yuki explained to the Zalthu scientist beside her, "we can coordinate our forces instantly across the entire galaxy. No lag, no interceptions. It could turn the tide of the war." The Zalthu nodded, its iridescent skin pulsing with what Yuki had learned was excitement. "Indeed, and perhaps we could use it to locate the traitors within our own ranks." The implications hung heavy in the air. The betrayal by elements within the Zalthu collective had shaken the alliance to its core. Trust, once freely given, was now a precious commodity. As the quantum communicator slowly came to life, its soft hum a stark contrast to the sounds of battle echoing across the galaxy, a new hope began to kindle. Humanity and their Zalthu allies had been caught off guard. Yes, they had suffered losses and setbacks, but they were far from defeated. In the heart of Vreknar space, Fleet Commander Grok received reports from across the battlefield. His initial satisfaction at the success of their surprise attack was quickly souring. "How are they adapting so quickly?" he snarled, smashing a clawed fist against his command console. "These humans, they're like nothing we've ever faced before." His second-in-command, a battle-scarred veteran, spoke up cautiously. "Sir, perhaps we underestimated them. Their alliance with the Zalthu, it's more than just shared technology. They complement each other in ways we didn't anticipate." Grok's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Then we must strike harder. Faster. We cannot allow them time to fully mobilize their forces." He turned to his communication officer. "Send word to our allies. It's time to commit everything we have. We will crush these humans and their Zalthu lapdogs in one fell swoop." As orders went out across the Vreknar fleet and to their shadowy allies, the galaxy held its breath. The next phase of the war was about to begin, and its outcome would determine the fate of not just humanity and the Zalthu, but of countless species across the cosmos. The lines had been drawn. Betrayal had been revealed. And now, in the crucible of conflict, the true strength of the human-Zalthu alliance would be tested. The galaxy was about to learn a valuable lesson. When pushed to the brink, humanity doesn't just fight back. They redefine the very nature of the battle. Counterattack. The war room deep within the heart of Earth's Unified Defense Command was a hive of activity. Holographic displays flickered with real-time battle data from across the galaxy, each pinpoint of light representing countless lives hanging in the balance. At the center of it all stood Admiral Kandra Okoro, her face etched with determination, as she surveyed the galactic chessboard before her. "Status report," she demanded, her voice cutting through the din of urgent communications and data analysis. A young officer, his uniform bearing the insignia of Earth's newly formed Sino-Intelligence Division, stepped forward. "Admiral, we've managed to decrypt some of the Vreknar battle communications. It appears they're preparing for a massive push against our core worlds. They're calling it Operation Sundering. Okoro's eyes narrowed. They think they can break us apart. Show me their projected attack vectors. As the holographic display shifted, revealing the Vreknar's ambitious battle plan, a small smile played at the corners of Okoro's lips. They've overextended themselves. Their arrogance will be their downfall. She turned to her assembled staff, a fire burning in her eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time we showed these aggressors exactly what humanity is capable of when pushed into a corner. Initiate Operation Prometheus. Across human space, a carefully orchestrated plan began to unfold. Ships that had seemed to be in full retreat suddenly pivoted, catching Vreknar pursuit squadrons off guard. Colonial defense platforms, thought to be offline, roared to life with weaponry that melded human ingenuity with Zalthu technology. On the front lines, the ESS Horizon led a daring assault against a Vreknar battle group. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge, her voice steady as she issued commands. Tactical, target their lead ship's propulsion systems with our new phased energy cannons. Communications, patch me through to Elder Vox's flagship. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the Zalthu leader's iridescent features. Alina allowed herself a small grin. Ready to show these Vreknar why they shouldn't have messed with our alliance. Elder? Vox's multifaceted eyes seemed to sparkle with anticipation. Indeed, Captain Reyes. Let us teach them a lesson they won't soon forget. As the battle unfolded, it became clear that the Vreknar had grossly underestimated the synergy between human tactical brilliance and Zalthu technological prowess. Ships danced through space in intricate maneuvers, energy weapons flashed in dazzling displays of destructive power, and slowly but surely the tide began to turn. Meanwhile, on a hidden Zalthu outpost deep in neutral space, Dr. Yuki Tanaka and her team worked feverishly to bring their quantum communicator online. The device hummed with barely contained energy, its inner workings a testament to the melding of two great civilizations' scientific knowledge. We're almost there, Yuki muttered, her fingers flying over holographic controls. Just a few more calibrations and... The room erupted in cheers as the quantum communicator sprang to life, its pulsing energy field a beacon of hope in the darkness of space. Yuki's eyes met those of her Zalthu colleague, both filled with a mixture of exhaustion and elation. We did it, she breathed. Quick, establish a link with Earth Command. This could change everything. As the quantum communicator's instantaneous transmissions began to flow, the true power of Operation Prometheus was revealed. Fleets across the galaxy, once isolated and vulnerable, suddenly found themselves part of a vast, interconnected network. Human and Zalthu forces coordinated with unprecedented speed and efficiency, outmaneuvering their Vreknar opponents at every turn. In the Arcturus system, where the Vreknar had hoped to cripple humanity's shipbuilding capabilities, they instead found themselves caught in an intricate trap. Governor Emeka Okafor, having evacuated his people from New Eden, now led a citizen militia that had transformed the shipyards into a labyrinth of deadly defenses. For New Eden, Emeka roared as he led a counterattack against Vreknar boarding parties. For humanity and our Zalthu friends, the battle raged through twisting corridors and zero-gravity assembly bays, with humans using their intimate knowledge of the environment to devastating effect. Vreknar soldiers, accustomed to overwhelming force, found themselves outmatched by human ingenuity and sheer determination. Back on Earth, Admiral Okoro received a priority transmission from the front lines. Her eyes widened as she absorbed the information, a fierce pride swelling in her chest. "Well done, Emeka," she murmured. Turning to her staff, she announced, "Arcturus holds. The Vreknar offensive has been blunted. It's time for Phase 2. Across the battlefield, human and Zalthu ships began to shift formation. What had seemed like desperate, uncoordinated resistance suddenly coalesced into a cohesive strategy. The Vreknar, overextended and caught off guard, found themselves fighting on multiple fronts. In the heart of Vreknar space, Fleet Commander Grok watched in growing horror as his carefully laid plans crumbled before his eyes. Holographic displays showed human and Zalthu forces advancing on key strategic positions, using tactics that seemed to anticipate his every move. "Impossible," he snarled, his clawed hands clenching into fists. "How are they coordinating so effectively? Our jamming technology should have prevented this." His second-in-command, scales pale with fear, spoke up hesitantly. "Sir, we're detecting some kind of new communication technology. Our sensors can barely register it, but it seems to be allowing instantaneous transmission across vast distances." Grok's eyes narrowed dangerously. "The research facility we raided. They must have completed their project." He turned to his communication officer. "Contact our allies. Tell them it's time to reveal themselves. We need to regain the initiative, no matter the cost." As the order went out, a chilling new development unfolded on the battlefield. Ships bearing Zalthu markings suddenly turned their weapons on their supposed allies. The betrayal, long hidden in the shadows, now burst into the open. On the ESS horizon, Captain Alina Reyes watched in disbelief as former allies became enemies in the blink of an eye. "Elder Vox," she called out, opening a channel to the Zalthu leader. "Are you seeing this?" Vox's face was a mask of sorrow and determination. "I am, Captain. It seems the rot within our society ran deeper than we feared. But do not lose heart. Those who stand with us now are true allies, tempered by the fires of adversity." Elena nodded grimly. "Agreed. We'll adapt and overcome, just as we've always done." She turned to her tactical officer. "Recalibrate our targeting systems. I want friend or foe identification tightened up. We can't afford any mistakes in this chaos." As the battle raged on, with loyalties shifting and the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, a new player entered the fray. Dr. Ava Chen, long thought captured or killed in the initial Vreknar assault, had managed to escape her captors. Now, aboard a stolen Vreknar scout ship, she raced towards the nearest human outpost with information that could turn the tide of the war. "This is Dr. Ava Chen, to any human or allied Zalthu forces." She broadcast on all frequencies. "I have critical intelligence on Vreknar bioweapons research. Authentication code, Prometheus Unbound." As Ava's transmission was verified and relayed to High Command, the true scope of the Vreknar's plans began to come into focus. They weren't just fighting for territory or resources. They sought to reshape the very nature of sentient life in the galaxy, using a twisted amalgamation of stolen Zalthu technology and human biological research. Admiral Okoro, upon receiving the intelligence, knew that the stakes had just been raised exponentially. "We need to end this war," she declared to her staff, "not just for our sake, but for every sentient species in the galaxy. Prepare for Operation Lightbringer." As plans for humanity's most ambitious offensive yet were set in motion, on the fringes of known space, a discovery was made that would change everything. A joint human-Zalthu exploratory mission, searching for new resources to fuel the war effort, stumbled upon something ancient and powerful. Dr. Zhen Wei, leading the expedition, could hardly believe his eyes as he studied the readings from the mysterious artifact they'd uncovered. "It's some kind of gateway," he reported back to Earth. "The energy readings are off the charts. If we can figure out how to activate it, we could potentially strike at the heart of Vreknar space directly." The race was on, as human and Zalthu scientists worked to unravel the secrets of the ancient gateway. The Vreknar pushed harder, growing more desperate with each passing day. The galaxy had become a powder keg, with the fate of countless civilizations hanging in the balance. In a bold move, Captain Alina Reyes and Elder Vox proposed a daring plan. Using the quantum communicator and the new gateway technology, they would lead a joint task force deep into enemy territory, aiming to cut off the head of the Vreknar war machine once and for all. Admiral Okoro, after careful consideration, gave the green light. "You'll be going in with minimal support," she warned. "If anything goes wrong, We won't be able to extract you. Alina's face was set with determination. Understood, Admiral. But this might be our best chance to end the war quickly and save countless lives. As preparations for the mission began, humanity and their loyal Zalthu allies steeled themselves for what could be the defining moment of the conflict. Ships were retrofitted with experimental gateway tech, strike teams were assembled, and strategies were honed to perfection. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her quantum communicator now the linchpin of the entire operation, worked tirelessly to ensure its stability. This tech was meant to bring us closer together. She mused to her Zalthu colleague. I never imagined it would be used like this. The Zalthu scientist placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. Sometimes, Yuki, the path to peace leads through the crucible of war. What matters is how we emerge on the other side. As the final preparations were made, a sense of anticipation mixed with trepidation swept through the Allied forces. This was it, the moment that would decide the fate of not just humanity and the Zalthu, but potentially the entire galaxy. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, now equipped with gateway technology that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Her crew, a mix of humans and Zalthu, worked with seamless efficiency, a testament to the strength of their alliance. All ships report ready, Captain, Jen announced, his voice tight with anticipation. Alina took a deep breath, her eyes meeting those of Elder Vox on the view screen. Well, old friend, she said with a grim smile, ready to make history. Vox's multifaceted eyes seemed to shimmer with a mix of emotions. Indeed, Alina, let us show the galaxy the true power of our alliance. With a nod to her helmsman, Alina gave the order that would echo through history. Activate the gateway. Operation Lightbringer is go. In a flash of blinding energy, the task force vanished from known space, hurtling towards the heart of Rekinar territory. The counterattack had begun in earnest. Now, deep in enemy space, outnumbered and alone, humanity and their allies would face their greatest test yet. As the ships emerged from the gateway, alarms blared across Vrekinar command centers. Fleet Commander Gruk, his eyes wide with disbelief, watched as the impossible unfolded before him. The humans and their Zalthu allies had bypassed all of his defenses, appearing as if by magic in the very heart of his empire. Impossible, he breathed, but even as the word left his lips, he knew the truth. The humans had done it again. They had changed the rules of the game. The final battle for the fate of the galaxy was about to begin, and the Vrekinar were about to learn why you should never, ever underestimate humanity or threaten those under their protection. A new galactic order. The heart of Rekinar space erupted into chaos as the combined human-Zalthu task force emerged from the ancient gateway. Alarms blared across the Vrekinar homeworld, Skria as the impossible became reality before their eyes. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, her eyes sharp as she took in the tactical displays. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. Remember, our primary target is their central command structure. Let's end this war here and now. As the human and Zalthu ships engaged the scrambling Vrekinar defense fleet, Alina couldn't help but marvel at the seamless coordination between the Allied forces. The quantum communicator hummed quietly in the background, facilitating instantaneous communication across the task force. On the Zalthu flagship, Elder Vox directed his own forces with calm precision. Captain Reyes, he communicated, his multifaceted eyes glimmering with determination. We're detecting heavy fortifications around the planetary defense grid. Shall we proceed with planned sunburst? Alina nodded grimly. Affirmative, Elder. Let's show them what happens when you combine Zalthu ingenuity with human audacity. As the space battle raged, a smaller, stealthier ship slipped through the chaos. On board, Dr. Ava Chen and a mixed team of human and Zalthu operatives prepared for their critical mission. Remember, Ava briefed her team, her eyes hard with resolve. Our objective is to infiltrate the Vrekinar bioweapons facility and secure their research data. We can't let them keep the advancements they've made with our stolen technology. As Ava's team began their daring infiltration, Fleet Commander Grok found himself in a state of panic he'd never before experienced. The command center of Skria's orbital defense station shook with the impact of Allied weapons fire. How? He snarled at his subordinates. How did they penetrate our defenses so easily? Where did they get this technology? Before anyone could answer, a junior officer called out in alarm. Sir, we're detecting a security breach in the Omega facility. Intruders have bypassed our highest level encryptions. Grok's eyes widened in horror. The Omega facility housed their most sensitive research, including the bioweapons project that was supposed to be their ultimate trump card. If the humans got their hands on that. Initiate scorched earth protocols. He roared. Destroy everything. We cannot let them. His words were cut short as the command center's main view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of Admiral Kandra Okoro. Her expression was one of grim determination. Fleet Commander Grok, she stated, her voice resonating with authority. Your forces are outmatched and surrounded. Your secret weapons facilities have been compromised. Surrender now, and we can end this conflict with minimal further loss of life. Grok's reptilian features contorted with rage. Never. He spat. We will fight to the last. Suddenly, the floor beneath him shuddered violently. Alarms blared as reports flooded in from across Skria. The planet's defense grid was collapsing, overwhelmed by the combined might of human ingenuity and Zalthu technology. As the realization of defeat settled over the Vreknar forces, scenes of surrender began to play out across the battlefield. Ship after ship powered down its weapons, and on the planet's surface, Vreknar ground forces laid down their arms. In the aftermath of the battle, as Allied forces secured Skria and began the process of dismantling the Vreknar war machine, Captain Alina Reyes and Elder Vox stood in the former office of Fleet Commander Grok. The Vreknar leader sat in restraints, his once proud demeanor now broken. Why? Elena asked, her voice tinged with a mix of curiosity and disgust. Why go to such lengths? Why risk everything in this war? Grok looked up, his eyes filled with a complex mix of emotions. You wouldn't understand, he hissed. Your alliance, it threatened everything. The natural order of the galaxy. We couldn't allow such power to go unchecked. Elder Vox stepped forward, his iridescent skin shimmering in the dim light. And yet, in your fear of our potential, you brought about the very future you sought to prevent. The galaxy will never be the same after this conflict. As the dust settled, and the full extent of the Vreknar's plans came to light, the Allied forces found themselves faced with a monumental task. Dr. Ava Chin's team had successfully retrieved vast amounts of data from the Omega facility, revealing a web of conspiracy that stretched far beyond the Vreknar Empire. In a secure conference room aboard the ESS Horizon, key leaders of the Human-Zalthu Alliance gathered to discuss their findings. The bioweapons research was just the tip of the iceberg, Ava explained, her face grim as she brought up holographic displays of the stolen data. The Vreknar were working with splinter groups from multiple species, including the Zalthu traders. Their ultimate goal was to reshape the genetic destiny of the galaxy itself. Admiral Okoro, joining via quantum communicator, leaned forward, her brow furrowed. Can we be certain we've rooted out all the conspirators? Dr. Yuki Tanaka shook her head. It's unlikely. The network is vast and complex. But with this data, we have a fighting chance of tracking them down. As the implications sank in, Alina voiced the question on everyone's mind. So where do we go from here? We've won the war, but it seems the real battle for the galaxy's future is just beginning. In the days and weeks that followed, news of the Vreknar Empire's defeat spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The story of how a young upstart species, humanity, had formed an alliance with the Zalthu and toppled one of the most feared powers in known space became the stuff of legend. But with great victory came great responsibility. as representatives from countless worlds reached out to Earth and the Zalfu Collective, seeking protection, trade agreements, or simply to understand the power dynamics of this new galactic order. The Alliance found itself at a crossroads. In the Grand Assembly Hall of the newly established Galactic Concordat on Earth, delegates from hundreds of species gathered to chart the course for the future. The air buzzed with a mixture of excitement, apprehension, and hope. Admiral Okoro, now serving as Earth's primary representative, took the podium. Her voice carried across the vast chamber, translated instantaneously into myriad languages. Fellow sentients, she began, her eyes scanning the diverse crowd. We stand at a pivotal moment in galactic history. The defeat of the Vreknar Empire and the uncovering of their conspiracy has shown us both the depths of darkness that exist in our universe and the heights of cooperation we can achieve when we stand together. She paused, letting her words sink in. But our work is far from over. The power we now wield, the combination of human determination, Zalfu wisdom, and the advanced technologies we've developed, comes with immense responsibility. We must ensure that we do not become that which we fought against. As discussions unfolded over the coming days, a new framework for galactic cooperation began to take shape. The Galactic Concordat would serve not as an empire or a domineering force, but as a forum for mutual understanding, technological exchange, and collective defense against existential threats. Key to this new order was the establishment of the Prometheus Protocol, a set of ethical guidelines for the development and use of advanced technologies. Dr. Yuki Tanaka and her Zalfu colleagues led the effort, ensuring that the quantum communicator and other groundbreaking innovations would be used for the benefit of all, not as weapons of war. Meanwhile, Captain Alina Reyes found herself in a new role, heading up a joint task force dedicated to rooting out the remnants of the Vreknar conspiracy. Her ship, the ESS Horizon, became a symbol of hope and justice across the galaxy. As Alina prepared for her latest mission, she stood in her ready room, gazing out at the stars. A chime at her door broke her reverie. "Enter," she called. Elder Vox glided in, his presence as calming as ever. "Preparing to depart, my friend." Elena nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. Another day, another secret base to uncover. Sometimes I wonder if we'll ever truly be done. Vox's multifaceted eyes shimmered with understanding. The path to a lasting peace is never-ending, Elena. But look at how far we've come. The galaxy is transforming before our eyes, and it's thanks in no small part to the courage and compassion of humanity. As they stood there, looking out at the vast expanse of space, both felt a profound sense of the journey that had brought them to this point. From that first desperate distress call to the forging of an alliance that had changed the face of the galaxy, humanity and the Zalfu had come so far together. The Galactic Concordat was far from perfect. Challenges remained, new threats would undoubtedly emerge, and the temptation to abuse their newfound power would always be present. But as long as there were those who remembered the lessons of this conflict, the strength found in diversity, the power of cooperation, and the unyielding spirit of those who stand up for what's right, there was hope for a brighter future. As the ESS Horizon prepared to depart on its latest mission, crews across the ship, human and Zalfu working side by side, felt a sense of purpose and unity. They were no longer just exploring the stars or defending their own interests. They were shepherds of a new age, protectors of a delicate balance that promised a better tomorrow for all sentient life. The ship's engines hummed to life, and as it broke orbit, its hull gleaming in the light of a distant sun, it carried with it the hopes and dreams of countless beings across the galaxy. Humanity had given just one warning to those who would threaten their allies, and in doing so, they had ushered in a new era of galactic cooperation. The message was clear to all who would listen. In this vast, often dangerous universe, there was strength in unity, power in diversity, and hope in the unyielding spirit of those who dared to reach out to others across the gulf of space and time. As the ESS Horizon vanished into the depths of space, The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, bearing witness to the dawn of a new chapter in the grand cosmic story. A chapter where humanity and their allies stood as beacons of hope in the endless night. The galaxy would never be the same, and that perhaps was the greatest victory of all.